Good morning students. Welcome to online session of Social Sciences. In previous chapter of history, that was New Kings and Kingdoms, we have studied about different rulers. In that, first of all, we have studied about Pala ruler, Rashtrakuta ruler, and then Pratihara ruler. After studying that, we have gathered some information regarding the Rajputs and the Cholas. Now, dear students, have you noticed that there was no mention of a kingdom in Delhi as its capital? Yes. Do you know the reason behind that? Yes. The reason is that because Delhi became an important city only in the 12th century. Now, in our third chapter, that is the Sultans of Delhi, we are going to study about various rulers of Delhi. Now, the rulers of the Delhi Sultanate who reigned means ruled as monarch during the period of 1206 to 1526 CE. Now, this is the period of more than 300 years. Now, these rulers, they left a permanent mark on the canvas of Indian history. Means all that Delhi Sultanate, they have played a very vital role, and its all impression have been marked on the canvas or in the Indian history. Now, this period is more than 300 years, and here more than there were five ruling dynasty were there. Those though have dominated the political scene of the country. Among them, the first dynasty was the slave kings. Second was Khalji, second the Tughlaqs, third Sayyids, and fourth Lodhis. Now, Delhi first became the capital of a kingdom under the Tomara Rajput. Now, here as a capital, Delhi served several empires, and the Tomara built the city of Delhi in 736 CE. Now, the Chauhans, they defeated Tomaras and established their rule in Delhi. Now, by this time, Delhi had become an important commercial center. Means many the businessmen, they were living there, and they have started doing trade. At this time, the coins, that is Delhi-wal, they started to be minted there. Main China merchants settled in Delhi. Now, the Delhi, it has been transformed into a capital which controlled the vast area of the subcontinent. Now, Delhi Sultanate built many cities there, and the cities are still in existence as a remnants of the 8 successive cities. Remnants means small remainings of that cities. So, we are having 8 cities here. First is Delhi, and it was built by Delika. Second is Kila Rai Pithora by Prithviraj Chauhan. Third, Siri by Alauddin Khilji. Fourth, Tughlaqabad by Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. Fifth, Jahanpana by Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Sixth, Kotla Firoz Shah by Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Seventh, Purana Kila by Sher Shah Suri. Eighth, Shah Jahanabad by Shah Jahan. Now, from 1206, Delhi became the capital of the Delhi Sultanate. Many dynasties held power in the late medieval period. They expanded and built forts and townships in and around the city of Delhi. Now, we are having the page here, that is in that the rulers of Delhi has been given. First of all, we are having Rajput dynasties there. Now, after the death of Harsha, northern India broke into small regional kingdoms. In the period of 647 to 1192 CE, number of kingdoms came into existence, and they were ruled by the Rajput. So first of all, that first dynasty was Tomaras, that was in early 12th century to 1165. Second was Angapala, after that Chauhans, then Prithviraj Chauhan. After that, rulers that came, they were early Turkish rulers. In this, first were the early slave sultans. Kutubuddin Aibak, Shamsuddin Iltutmish, Razia, then Nasiruddin Muhammad, Ghiyasuddin Balban. Then we are having that Khilji dynasty. Here Jalaluddin Khilji, Alauddin Khilji, Mubarak Khilji. After that, Tughlaq dynasty came into existence. Ghiyasuddin bin Tughlaq, Muhammad bin Tughlaq, Firoz Shah Tughlaq, later Tughlaq. After that, Sayyid dynasty. Khirs Khan, Mubarak Shah, Muhammad Shah and Alam Shah. And last their dynasty was Lodi dynasty, Behlul Lodi, Sikandar Lodi and last Ibrahim Lodi. Here first of all we will study about Mamluk Sultans, and their period was 1206 to 1290 CE. Now Muhammad Ghori was murdered in 1206 CE, and because of that sudden death, it was very difficult to control the new conquered dominant. Dominant means their new state which they were controlling. And after the death of Muhammad Ghori, its Indian possession means owning, they came under the control of his general. The name of the general was Kutubuddin Aibak, and this Kutubuddin Aibak started ruling, and his dynasty was called as Slave Dynasty. Now Kutubuddin Aibak, they ruled India for only 400 years. 400 years means 4 centuries. Now Aibak had been sold as slave in his childhood and was finally purchased by Sultan Muhammad Ghori. Now when Kutubuddin Aibak was child, he was sold not only once but more than once. Again and again it was sold. That person, they were purchasing him, and after that they were selling again. And lastly he was purchased by a sultan, that Muhammad Ghori. Now the Sultan Muhammad Ghori, he noticed the efficiency of Kutubuddin Aibak, and he gave him the post there in his dynasty. And there after that, Kutubuddin Aibak was known as founder of Slave Dynasty or Mamluk Dynasty. Now here meaning of Mamluk is a slave who was born of free parents. Now in the slave dynasty there were 3 rulers, Kutubuddin, then Iltutmish and Balban. They all were called as slave rulers. Do you know the reason behind that? Yes, because all these rulers, they were once slaves. Okay. After Ghori's death, Aibak set up an independent kingdom with its headquarters in Lahore, and they laid the foundation of the Delhi Sultanate there. Kutubuddin Aibak was the first independent sultanate ruler in India, and he was very generous. Generous means he was having very open-handed to give money or to give charity. And this practice of giving away that large amount of money in charity, he was gained a title of Lakh Baksh. Here the meaning of Lakh Baksh is, Lakh means that lakh and Baksh means giver. So the meaning of Lakh Baksh is the giver of lakhs. And this Kutubuddin Aibak, he built 2 mosques, one at Delhi and another one at Ajmer. Now the mosque which is in Delhi, it is called Quwwatul Islam, meaning is power of Islam. And another mosque that is at Ajmer, it is called Adhai Din Ka Jhopda. In English, we can say shed of 2.5 days. Now this mosque, it is one of the oldest mosque in India, and it is the oldest surviving monument in Ajmer. Now Aibak made no fresh conquest as he was busy in consolidating his rule in the conquered territories. Means he was not trying to extend his dynasty, but he was making his territory more powerful. And it was not only attempting to make his administration in a good manner. His total rule was based on the military nature. And that Qutbuddin Aibak, he started construction of many buildings. Among that buildings, Qutub Minar, which is at Delhi, is the famous one. But the work of Qutub Minar was completed by Iltutmish. Do you know the reason behind that? Yes, because death of Qutbuddin Aibak. One day in 1210 CE, Qutbuddin Aibak, he was playing polo and he fell off his horse and killed. So because of this reason, that work of Qutub Minar, it was completed by Iltutmish. Next is Iltutmish. The period is 1210 to 1236 CE. Now Qutbuddin was succeeded by Iltutmish. Means after that rule of Qutbuddin Aibak, Iltutmish came into power or rule. And this Shamsuddin Iltutmish, this is the full name of Iltutmish. He was born of Turkish parents belonging to the Albari tribe of Central Asia. Now after the death of Qutbuddin Aibak, few that nobles of Delhi, they have invited Iltutmish. At that time he was the governor of Bayuddin. So that nobles, they have invited Iltutmish to come to Delhi. Then Iltutmish reached Delhi and assumed the sovereign power. Sovereign means supreme powers. Now that whole power is in hand of Iltutmish. Iltutmish made Delhi his capital, and he devoted the first 10 years of his rule to securing his power and position only. He was just trying to secure his power and the position in the dynasty. For this, he had faced various troubles and problems there from their rivalries. Rivalries means that person or group, those who are completely against and they are doing the same work. Here the Turkish nobles who had been prominent means important in political and military affairs. Iltutmish and the Mongols, it was during the Iltutmish rule that the Mongols appeared on the border of India for the first time. Means when that when that Mongols came, that time that was the rule of Iltutmish there. Now these fierce means displaying an intense aggressiveness, and warlike people means people those who are ready for war. They came to India under the leader, his name was Genghis Khan, and they overran the northern western territories and reached the banks of the river Indus. Now some enemies of Mongols sought shelter with Iltutmish, but he refused them century. He thus saved his kingdom from the Mongols' anger and sure devastation. Means when Mongols came to India, they were having some enemies there, and that enemies, they asked Iltutmish for the shelter, but Iltutmish refused to give the shelter to all that enemies of Mongols. But the reason behind this, that he don't want to face the Mongols' anger and their devastation. Iltutmish building. Iltutmish was a great builder. As you all know that he have completed the construction of Qutub Minar in Delhi, which was started by Qutubuddin Aibak. Because of the sudden death of Qutubuddin Aibak, Iltutmish completed the work of that construction of Qutub Minar. And he also built many mosques and magnificent mosques at Bayuddin and his mausoleum also with red stone at Delhi.